What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to Just Ballin', where I have another NBA draft video slash podcast out for you guys. And we are going to be pretty much going over my updated big board for the 2025 NBA draft. I like to think when the Super Bowl is over, it is officially draft season, and we can really dive deep into these prospects, talk about them a little bit more. Conference tournaments right around the corner, and then before you know it, we're going to be in the second week of March. It's going to be Selection Sunday, and then March Madness is going to be here. So today I wanted to pretty much just drop my big board. I think I'm going to go about 30 prospects deep on this. Maybe a couple more if I want to just mention some guys throughout this. But yeah, we're pretty much going to be going over the top players for this 2025 draft. A lot of this stuff is still fluid. Guys are going to be having good games. Guys are going to be having bad games. Guys are going to go through slumps. Guys are going to go on hot streaks. And some of this may change, especially as the games become a little bit more meaningful. And we're going to see these players maybe either be really clutch or not in some of the biggest moments of the year. So we'll start off with an easy one. At number one, I don't think this is a debate, really, at least not in my eyes. It's Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg has been the best prospect, mainly all year long, maybe outside the first week of the season, where Dylan Harper had some hype to it. But if you look at Cooper Flagg's numbers since conference play started, he had a pretty lackluster game against G-Tech. But you can see he's got a 67% true shooting percentage since conference play started, 22.5 points, about 2.6 stocks a night, 6.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 57, 47, 85 splits. Yeah, the numbers have been there. The stats are there, and the eye test is there as well. The one knock on Cooper Flagg is he sweats too much, and then he maybe will turn the ball over because of that in the late in the second half, which I don't even know if that's correlated or not. But either way, Cooper Flagg, in my opinion, is the best prospect in this draft. He's the clear 1.1, and no matter who's picking number one, no matter how many forwards you have on your team, you're taking Cooper Flagg. I know you may need a point guard. I know you may need a ball handler, but no, you don't pass up on what Cooper Flagg can be both offensively and defensively for what he could be as just like an offensive piece that could drive to the rim, that could score in the post, that can shoot, but can also just be one of the best defenders in the sport right away. He's got great help instincts. He's got great on-ball defense. He plays super physical, and he just turned 18 back in November. So in my opinion, Cooper Flagg is the best prospect in this draft. Clear 1.1, and I'd be very sure. I would say right now there's a 99.9% chance Cooper Flagg is the number one overall pick going into the 25 draft. So that is no shocker. I don't know if this is a shocker as well at number two, but I got Dylan Harper out of Rutgers. Dylan Harper, one of the best ball handlers in this draft, one of the best facilitators, shot creators in this draft as well. He's up to 19 points on the year for Rutgers, 4.1 assists, 4.7 rebounds, 48, 32, 74 splits. So obviously not playing in as premier of a school as Cooper Flagg is, as Rutgers has struggled, and Harper has missed some time since conference play started. He's had his good games against Maryland and Illinois, where a lot of people were watching these games because of the other prospects that were also in this game. But he's had some stinkers as well. He's had some nights where he's either been super passive, the shot isn't falling, the defense isn't there, he's not making the right pass. And this is going to be some of the negatives that come with Dylan Harper's game. And it's not going to be perfect with him every single night. But I also think that he's playing in not the best environment in the world at Rutgers. I don't think this offense is really suited well around Harper and Ace Bailey. And I think they're just using this as kind of like a stepping stone for the NBA, and they're allowing themselves to get the development as by far and away the number one and number two options playing for the Scarlet Knights, and that's going to help prepare them for the NBA level. But yeah, Harper could score the basketball in a bunch of different ways. He could score off the dribble, he could catch and shoot, he could score at the rim, he could finish inside, gets to the free throw line a very nice amount this year, and he could be active in passing lanes as well. And I do think he's the best guard in this draft, and he's coming in at number two for me. Now here's probably my first shocker. At number three, I do not have Ace Bailey. I have VJ Edgecombe of the Baylor Bears. VJ Edgecombe has been fantastic since conference play started. In my opinion, has earned himself on the nod to be the third best prospect in this draft. So up on the year, he's averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 45% from the field, 38% from three, and basically 80% from the free throw line, 2.2 steals a night as well. And he got off to a rough start this year with this shot, but it's really come alive over his last, we could probably see 10 games here in conference play, where he's averaging 19 points over those 10 games on 64% shooting, 60% effective field goal percentage as well throughout those last 10 games. And he's someone that I think is going to be a great connecting piece at the NBA level. Somebody that you could plug and play in between, like, next to your stars. Like, I think one of the best spots for Edgecombe is probably Charlotte, where I really like him in New Orleans, and or maybe even Toronto. And Edgecombe is somebody that's going to play really good defense. He's not the defender that Cooper Flagg is, but he's better than Harper, better than Jakucionis, better than almost anybody else we're going to talk about here in like the top 6 or 7. And Edgecombe has explosive defense. He can run up and down the floor. He's got a good shot right now. And he's just a crazy athlete. He's probably the most athletic player that we're going to talk about possibly in this episode, in this big board. Edgecombe is a true two-way prospect, and I think that's going to appeal to a lot of teams, what his ability could be on both ends of the floor. So I'm going to have VJ Edgecombe coming in number 3. I'm really excited to see how he finishes this season as Baylor. I mean, not the best team in the world this year, but they're at least competitive enough in the Big 12. So yeah, I'm going to have Edgecombe at 3. I don't know if that's a little bit of a shocker. I will have Ace Bailey coming in at number 4. Ace Bailey, teammate of Dylan Harper at Rutgers. I mean, he's got a unique part to his game where he's 6'9", 6'10", incredibly skinny, but he's 6'10", or close to it, and he can handle the ball like a guard. That allows him to have this advantage in the skill set that's going to be very appealing to scouts, which allows him to get into passing lanes. He can get a block or two off every night. He's shooting 47% from the field, 38% from 3, 69% from the free throw line at 6'10". He's averaging 19 points on the year. He's had a little bit inconsistencies since conference play started. There's been some bad nights against like Maryland. Illinois wasn't too kind to him, but honestly, it wasn't one of the worst ones. Michigan State was really bad, and that was like a primetime game. I believe that was played at the Garden, Madison Square Garden. But he's had his good games as well. Like the Northwestern game was really good. The Nebraska game was really good. The UCLA game was really good. And you can see that he averages 1.7 assists over his last 12 games in about 33 minutes a night. That's going to be a knock on Ace Bailey and potential tunnel vision, potential just not making the extra pass. But I do like watch Rutgers, and when I'm watching them, he makes like NBA level passes, and his teammates sometimes can't finish. So I don't think his assist numbers are really the whole story around him as a playmaker. Does he need to work on that department? 100%. 100% he needs to get better as an overall playmaker if he's going to want to have the ball this much in the half court. But what his offensive skill set is right now, and the ability he could shoot over anybody in college basketball, it could be a center, power forward, small forward, that's going to translate pretty well to the NBA level. I would just like for him to get a little bit more stronger and the ability to finish inside a little bit more. Coming in at number 5, we have Kasparas Jakucionis, where I feel like his highs this year for Illinois have been high, and the lows can be pretty low. He's a fun point guard prospect because he's 6'6", he's got great size, good weight on him right now. He's averaging 16 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists this year for the Illinois Fighting Illini, 47 from the field, 35 from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. Like Ace Bailey, it's been a little inconsistent at times since conference play started, where he's now averaging 15 points on fine true shooting of 58%, but there have been some bad games. There's the Michigan State game. There was the one game where he fouled out super quickly. It was the Michigan State game, and I'm like watching it. I'm like, really? Some of the foul calls, I mean, they were I think a little bit debatable, but still, he's had back-to-back really nice games after kind of going through a little bit of a rough stretch from the Michigan State game over to the Rutgers game. But yeah, back-to-back really good games against Minnesota and UCLA. I mean, not premier teams in the Big Ten. But either way, Jakucionis can have this like stature of body where he's able to absorb contact. He can finish inside. He plays very twitchy, very fast, and he's able to play, I think, or see the offense and see the game 2 plays ahead of everybody else. He can play very fast. He can run in transition. He can shoot a little bit. And he's this body that should be able to be, I think, like way quicker than Josh Giddey, way better defender than Josh Giddey, and should be a better shooter than Josh Giddey. But kind of all those intangibles that Giddey had coming from overseas into the NBA draft. So Jakucionis comes in there at number 5 for me. Number 6, this is where there could be a start of a debate, but I still like Trey Johnson a ton coming out of Texas. I feel like his floor is pretty high. I know he's gonna struggle as, like, it's funny. he can score the ball very well with the ball in his hands. Like, he does like that thing specifically very well. He's got a beautiful baseline jumper. He can get to his spot on the baseline, 2 dribbles there, and he's gonna take the pull-up jumper, and that's where he likes to be. He doesn't do many things well outside of that, compared to like VJ Edgecombe that does so many things well, maybe outside of creating his own shot right now. But Trey Johnson, I mean, it's not a good Texas team. He's by far and away like one of the only guys that can create their own shot on their team. And his shot struggled when conference play started, but he still had his really good games. He had a good game statistically against Alabama, even though they got their butts kicked in that game. And yeah, he's had his struggling moments for sure, where the shot's not falling and he's not going to be a great defender. He's not going to be a good playmaker. I do think his assist numbers and like, I mean, he looks, I think, a better passer out there than Ace Bailey. He's not like Ace Bailey level tunnel vision, but he could score the basketball in a bunch of different ways. 39% from 3 this year, 87% from the free throw line. Those numbers have carried over from high school, and I think he could be a very good scorer at the NBA level. So he's coming in at number 6. Coming in at number 7, maybe a surprise as well. I have Kon Knueppel out of Duke. Kon Knueppel is, I think this is the start of like a new tier. I mean, I think maybe Trey Johnson's the start of a new tier, and then I have Kon. So Kon, I think, is in debate for the best shooter in this draft. I think he's up there with Trey Johnson. He's up there with maybe Ace Bailey, but more so I would say it's like him and Liam McNeeley at the top of the shooting class, where he's playing in the best environment, or one of the best environments in college basketball right now, a complimentary piece to Cooper Flagg and Tyrese Proctor and Sion James over there at Duke. But his numbers are pretty good, like 38% from 3, basically 88% from the free throw line. The shot form looks fantastic, and it looks like it is going to work completely at the NBA level. He gets it off quick. It's a quick release. I think there are going to be a ton of no-dip threes at the NBA level. 13 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists on the year. I think right now his defense hasn't been great, but I do think he's going to play physical enough, and he's got the size and the length and the strength to be a good defender, or at least a fair defender at the NBA level. And I think he's also a guy that's going to be a connecting piece as well. He's going to be someone that is going to knock down a couple threes a night. He could score inside a little bit. He's never going to be probably an all-star unless he reaches his like 9th percentile outcome at the NBA level. But I just think he's going to be a little bit more safe as an overall scorer than my player that I have coming in at number 8, which I think it's kind of like a 7A, 7B between these two right now. That's Liam McNeeley, who had one of the best performances out of any draft prospect this year the other night against Creighton in Omaha, Nebraska, where UConn does not win in. He had 38 points, 7 of 12 from 2, 5 of 10 from 3, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, and also had 10 rebounds in this game. McNeely's dealt with some injuries this year as well. But it's kind of similar, lower field goal percentage, but a high 30s in 3-point percentage, and a really good free throw percentage as well. McNeeley, I think, is a better defender than people give him credit for, and I do think is a better defender than Kon right now. I just would like to see him put on a little bit of weight. He does look a little bit skinny out there, and I wonder how that's going to affect him attacking to the rim, trying to absorb contact at the NBA level. But I can't believe that we almost saw Liam McNeeley play at Indiana. Like, he was well on committed to Indiana, and then ended up decommitting to go to UConn, which is kind of crazy because Indiana's been an absolute mess this year. Their coach, Mike Woodson's, probably not going to be back next year. And I just wonder what he would be as a prospect if he didn't choose UConn, which, yeah, definitely looks like the best decision for his career. So he's coming in at number 8. 2 more spots left in the top 10. I got Jeremiah Fears coming in at number 9 out of Oklahoma. A fun point guard prospect for sure, in a class that, I mean, I guess he's like the 3rd point guard I have on my board right now, behind Dylan Harper and Kasparas, even though Dylan Harper maybe more of a combo guard. Jeremiah Fears, that is not the Fears I wanted to show you guys. Jeremiah Fears is shooting 25% from 3 this year. I think that's a big weakness of his game, as his 3-point shot has been very inconsistent. You can see he's like 0 for his last 7, at least in the last 2 games. But he's up to 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 44% from the field, 25% from 3, 84% from the free throw line. He's 6'4" guard. He's got a great ball handle. He can get around defenders. He can attack closeouts. He can finish inside. He can orchestrate the pick and roll, navigate ball screens very well. And I do think he's a fun point guard prospect. And I do think it's going to matter fit for Fears. And I think it's maybe similar to like a Trey Johnson. Like, he is one of the only guys that can create their own shot at Oklahoma, and you've seen some really good games like against Michigan, like against Vanderbilt, and you've seen some bad games against Georgia, or maybe A&M. So yeah, it's going to be a big final months for Jeremiah Fears, because Oklahoma is not really going to be competing for anything unless they somehow won the SEC tournament, which is not going to happen. But either way, I think Fears has played himself into being a top 10 prospect for what he could be as this scoring guard that has good size. It's just the 3-point shot is what's going to hold him back from, I think, being any higher. So let's have one last SEC guy in the top 10 to finish out the top 10. At number 10, we are going to have Asa Newell from Georgia, the big man who is a crazy athlete. Can jump out of the gym, can rebound very well, and can dunk inside, can catch alley-oops, can rim run, can be a great screen setter in the pick and roll. And I think there's a lot of offenses that I would like to see him in, like a high-powered, high-tempo offense at the NBA level, because I think he could be a power forward. I think he could be a center. And I think there's so many good front courts where he could fit very well. The 3-point shot, I mean, it's there's been some games this year against Auburn, he's knocked down 2 threes. Kentucky, he's knocked down 2 threes. Grand Canyon, he's knocked down 2 threes. Is he consistent? No. But I kind of like the upside in his 3-point shot because it looks pretty good. He's not a bad free throw shooter. I think there could be some floor spacing ability to Asa Newell's game. And if there is, yeah, that could allow him to be, I think, even higher when it's all said and done, potentially reaching a ceiling of like my number 6 ranked prospect. So that is the top 10 with Flagg at 1. Dylan Harper at 2, Edgecombe at 3, Ace at 4, Kasparas at 5, Trey Johnson 6, Kon Knueppel 7, William McNeeley 8, Jeremiah Fears is going to be 9, and Asa Newell is going to be 10. So I think just missing out on the top 10, Khaman Maluach. I think it's also, you're really just betting into the potential of Khaman for what he could be as a rim protector at the NBA level. I think it helps out a ton that he's playing with Cooper Flagg, currently at Duke, one of the best help defenders and weak side defenders in all of college basketball. But Khaman has not had a lot of experience just playing basketball. And as he continues to develop over time, if he's in the right situation, he can be an elite rim protector at the NBA level because of his size, his length, his wingspan, and his ability to block shots, and have a feel for that right now. He can be at times clunky and awkward inside the paint, and you worry about the footwork a little bit. And could it be like, I don't know, like, I think he's way more polished than what like Thon Maker was. And he's going to have way better experience playing at Duke this year. But it's like somebody like that where you're banking on the potential of what they could be, a good maybe ball handler at 7'2", someone that, yeah, can put the ball on the ground, that can finish inside, catch alley-oops, and just be someone that's going to, at his peak, average 2.5 blocks a night, and be someone that can average 14 points, 10 rebounds, and shoot 70% from the field at the NBA level. I think that is a possibility. And I think for just like centers being so thin, and we haven't really talked about a center, like this isn't, I mean, it's not a weak center class, but at the top, it's kind of up for grabs. And I do think Khaman probably shows the most potential out of any of the other guys. So I have him coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 12, this is where some things can change up for me. I do have Egor Demin. I guess it's a little bit shocking that I do not have him in the top 10. If I can find him as a, or I'm under center still. But yeah, I have Egor a little bit lower than maybe some people do. He's coming in at number 12 for me right now. I'm just worried about the shot. It's been pretty bad at BYU this year, at least since he got off to that hot start, when BYU maybe had one of the easiest non-conference schedules on the year. You're seeing them play, you see Riverside, Queens, Idaho, Mississippi Valley State, Central Arkansas. Yeah, very easy competition to start off the year. We had like a nice couple 4 games out of the rip. He's had like some good games since conference play started, but man, the shot has been kind of brutal to watch, and he is way, like, he's slower than Kasparas. I mean, he is a couple inches taller than Jakucionis, but he's slower than Kasparas. I think he makes reads not as fast as Kasparas, and the shot isn't as good as Kasparas is. So yeah, somebody that's 42 from the field, 27 from 365 from the free throw line. Where do you take a chance on that for someone that's 6'9" that can play the point guard position, and that could provide you a huge advantage at the NBA level because of his size? He needs to put on some weight for sure. And he does also turn the ball over a decent amount this year. He's averaging 2.9 turnovers, around a 25% turnover rate. So, I do think he can make strides as like a finisher and even as a defender, at the NBA level. I'm just not taking him in the top 10 right now. And I think it's a little bit more of a project play, than you maybe would have liked it to be. So yeah, he's going to come in at number 12 for me, but he could definitely also hit, the top 10 when it's all said and done. Coming in at number 13, this is something I've been going back and forth about. Who do I like in this class? At the spot specifically, because now we're getting into, I think, a different tier where some guys are going to be up in the air a little bit. But I'm gonna go with I just had it. I'm gonna go with Khaman Maluach because I just think Khaman Maluach is the safe defensive prospect in this class. Out of the SEC. If he wasn't 6'7", he would go so much higher in this draft. I wish he was maybe somewhat of a better shooter, for sure. But it's at least there at times. Like, at least he's taken threes now. It's such a small volume at night that I don't know if he's going to take him at the next level. But he's one of the best defenders in this class. It's just like he's a 6'7", big. That's a little small to guard centers at the NBA level. And is he going to be quick enough on the perimeter to guard wings? That's up for grabs. South Carolina, not a good team in the SEC. They're one of the worst teams in the SEC this season. But Khaman Maluach is doing all he can to be like the number one for this team. And I think he could just provide you at the base level, like great perimeter defense, great switchability on that end of the floor, be a good post defender. And I think he just has a higher floor than some of these other prospects. And that's why I have him coming in at number 13. So I think, yeah, I guess this could be like the high floor range. Because I do like Derik Queen's floor as well. He's coming in at number 14 for me. Out of Maryland, I just think Queen does not project to be as good of a rim protector or a defender as Khaman does. And Queen has been a very productive college player. He's had his really good games. There was a lot of scouts in the Rutgers game, and he had arguably the best game of his freshman career. 29 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists. In that game and shot 56% from the field. You can see he's put up pretty good numbers for Maryland this year. It's just, are NBA teams going to give him the post touches a night, and are they going to adapt to what his play style is, which isn't very versatile at the NBA level? Those are my question marks with Queen, and I think fit matters a ton with him as well, and I think it could be better for him to just kind of mold himself into a new role coming off the bench right away, and then he can eventually become, I think, a good starter at the NBA level. 6'10", but yeah, seems like he could be a little bit like smaller than that makes out to be. And it's just like a bigger game when you get to the NBA level. And I just worry about these centers that can't space the floor, that don't project to be like the best defenders in the world, how they can be at the NBA level. So coming in at number 15, I have Ben Saraf over from he's Israeli and plays at Germany this year. Fun combo guard as a prospect for what he could be coming out of Israel. The shot has been not like all over the place this year, but in a way it has. He's got a 52% true shooting percentage. He can have some really good games, but he can also have some really poor games. He struggles with turnovers a little bit this year, but you're just bringing somebody that has good size at like 6'5", 6'6", that can handle the ball very well. It's kind of like Egor Demin type that you hope can have great court vision, that can help orchestrate an offense, and that is going to be, I mean, I hate this comp because people use it, but the Manu Ginobili light of this draft and what he can be with his court vision as a connecting piece. He's never going to make the wrong pass. He's never going to end a possession, and he could be a top 15 guy in the class. I think it's more of an upside play there at 15. At 16, I'm going to go with Rasheer Fleming. Still one of my favorite prospects in this class. It's like a 3-and-D stretch 4. I think it's just like a safe prospect in this class for sure. For somebody that has been a good shooter this year at St. Joe's, in a respectable conference of the A-10. It's definitely been more respectable this year than years past. He's shooting 41% from 3, 55% from the field, 15 rebounds, 15 points, 9 rebounds. A great athlete, can throw it down on your head, can run in transition, and has good size at 6'9", and good ball handling ability where he could score to the post. He can cut, he can catch alley-oops, and I think he could be somebody that still is a top 15-ish player in the class. I mean, I have him at number 16, and I think that'd be worth taking a chance on. I'm at number 16. So number 17, I'm going to have Jase Richardson from Michigan State. Somebody I've been kind of he's been rising up my draft boards as of late. Currently a Michigan State Spartan. I feel like I'm always obligated to say it, but the son of Jason Richardson, NBA legend. And Jase Richardson has been one of the more efficient guards in the Big Ten this year. He had the best game of his career against Oregon, where he had 29 points. I believe that was, the weekend game on the 8th. I think his dad was in attendance. It was a big day for Tom Izzo and Michigan State. And I think he's like pretty close to Jeremiah Fears as like that next best point guard prospect. Like we have I have Fears at 9, Richardson's at 17. Like they probably aren't that far apart. And Richardson has come off the bench most of the year. In his last 2 games, he has started. Now, he did struggle against Indiana in his most recent one, but he's got a good dribble move. He's a good dribble package. He can get by defenders. He's quick. He can finish at the rim with either hand. And that excites me as a prospect for Jase Richardson on what he could be as this point guard. I would like for the court vision to be up a little bit, but his role at Michigan State hasn't really been like run the second unit. It's been like score on the second unit at times. He takes high quality shots. He doesn't force anything. And that's what sets up him to have like a good efficiency and kind of pretty much a good field goal percentage all year long. So that is going to be my number 17th ranked prospect in this draft. I think coming in here at number 18, I'm just kind of making sure I want to get this right. It is going to be Danny Wolf over at Michigan. Another fun player here because he's got the ability to play the 4, play the 5 at Michigan this year. So we have a Michigan State player followed by a Michigan player. And Danny Wolf can play the 4, can play the 5, good size at 7 feet, can handle the ball fairly well for somebody of his size as well, because Flagg plays the 5, he plays the 4, which I think is going to allow him to have a little bit more versatility at the NBA level. And I do wonder if scouts are going to find his versatility a little bit more appealing than Derik Queen's if neither one of them is going to be a good defender. But Wolf can rebound the ball well. He could play make well for somebody of his size because he could dribble well. He could shoot fairly well, 37% from 3. He did shoot last year at Yale about 34.5% from 3, and the volume's gone up this year, and the 3-point percentage is up to 37.1%. He's a great rebounder. He can shot block a little bit as well, which is encouraging. I just don't think he's going to be a great rim protector because of his strength inside, but I do think he could be a 4, he could be a 5, and I think as long as he can cut down the turnovers, because he does turn the ball over a crazy amount at 3.5 a night, he could still be a top 20 prospect in this class. So coming in at number 19, I'm going to have Noah Essengay. I'm going to have Noah Traore, and then it's probably going to be Noah Essengay. But yeah, Noah Traore, I mean, one of the more hyped up prospects coming into this year. I probably had him like 5 or 4 on my preseason big board, and well, guys from the preseason big board are staying at the top, like Flagg, Harper, Edgecombe, and Bailey. He has definitely fallen a ton. So I have him ranked number 19. He's got good size, good ball handling. I think he's going to grow into his body where he's going to have a good frame at the NBA level. And I think he can still do a little bit with the ball in his hands, which I think is exciting. But yeah, he's got a very high usage rate over in France at St. Quentin. At 18 years old, he's asked to do a ton over there, and that's going to affect his efficiency a little bit. I think it's still worth to take a chance on him in the top 20. I just don't know if he's going to be the top 5 prospect we thought he could be going into the year. So behind him, I do have Noah Essengay playing at Rasheer Farm with Ben Saraf. And Essengay is somebody that I think is going to be a solid off-ball guy. He stands in at about 6'8", 6'9". I think he could get even taller by the time he's playing in the NBA. He's got about a 59% true shooting percentage over in Germany, and he's another French prospect, which is pretty cool. Just so much French talent in the NBA, but he's shooting 21% from 3. I think he can get to the line, though. He's got a good ball handle, and I think teams could see the upside on what he can project to be. Maybe like a T-John Salon 2.0. I just don't think should go as high as Salon ended up going in the draft last year. If he does declare, I like Will Riley as a prospect coming out of Illinois, playing with Kasparas Jakucionis over there. And Will Riley has his really good scoring games. He can have his other scoring games where he doesn't, or his other games where he's not really looking like an impactful prospect, where the 3-point shot's not falling. His thin frame allows him to not be the greatest defender in the world. He's not maybe the best playmaker at times, but he does have his really good games here and there, and I think it's worth taking a chance on him as a top 20 prospect in this draft. I have him coming in at 21. He could score the best. He can finish at the rim with either hand. He can blow right by defenders. He can navigate ball screens. He can work out of the pick and roll. And he's 6'8", so that is appealing as well as a wing. I just wonder if he would maybe benefit staying another year playing college basketball still, just to figure out what he is as a prospect. Coming in at number 22, this is going to be Ian Jackson, the first of maybe 2 UNC prospects that are going to make this. I mean, UNC's had a disastrous year. They basically needed to win out, and maybe they'd get in the tournament, but they most likely need to somehow run the table in the ACC tournament. And Ian Jackson hasn't been as involved in the offense as of late, and UNC's had some bad losses to Pittsburgh. They got blown out by Duke. And getting blown out by Clemson is really a big fall off for the UNC program this year. But I think he could be a good three-point shooter. He's a very good athlete, can run in transition, can cut a little bit as well, play off ball. And I think he does have potential to being a top 20 player in this draft. I think also another player that could benefit staying another year at college if he were to do so. Another player that is very NBA ready, though, that maybe doesn't have high as upside as Ian Jackson because he's on the older side, but I think he can plug and play on almost any team, is Cam Jones, currently playing at Marquette. Cam Jones is one of the best players in all of college basketball, and he's someone that can do a little bit of everything. He can dribble, he could pass, he could shoot, he could defend, he could run in transition. I would like for the three-point shot to be a little bit more efficient because he did shoot 40% from three on 6.5 attempts last year, and it dropped off a little bit. So I do think Cam Jones would have been a first-round pick last year, and I still think he could be a first-round pick this year. Another player that's maybe similar to that, I do think Alex Karaban. Actually, I'm going to have Karaban next. I'm going to have Thomas Sorber here out of Georgetown, who I think outside of Khaman maybe has the potential to being the second best rim protecting center in this draft. Better defensive potential, in my opinion, than Derik Queen and Danny Wolf, and then maybe one other center we'll get to. This year at Georgetown, he's averaging about 14.7 points, 8.7 rebounds, 52% from the field. Georgetown has been at least more competitive this year with Ed Cooley than years past, and he's somebody that's a very good rim protector, can defend in the post, would like maybe, I don't know if he needs to put on some weight, but I think is just going to continue to get stronger and have a better feel as a post defender, and I think just what he has as a defensive upside at big is definitely warrant of somebody that should be a first-round prospect in this draft, and I think should be rising up draft boards as well. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised by the end of it if he's higher than like Danny Wolf for me, or if he's definitely higher than like Gay or Will Riley or Ian Jackson. Actually, I think I like him higher than Ian Jackson. So I'm going to have him at 22 just because I like the defense. And I'm actually going to have Cam Jones above Ian Jackson. I think I had Ian Jackson go a couple spots too early now that I'm talking about it. Coming in at number, where are we at here? 25, this is going to be Alex Karaban. Teams need shooting. And you're looking in this class, a lot of inconsistencies with three-point shots. Like Ian Jackson, how much can you trust it? Same with Cam Jones. Same with Will Riley. You definitely can't trust it for Trey and Gay right now. I mean, there are some fine shooters up here, but Alex Karaban, maybe a top 4 shooter in this draft after Liam McNeeley and Kon Knueppel, because his three-point shot has dropped a little bit this year, 34% from three on more volume than he had last year. And last year, I thought he could have been a first-round pick if he went into the draft. He's not the best athlete in the world, but he's one of the smartest off-ball players. He knows when to cut, knows when to slash, and I think that can help him out a ton if he's playing with a good point guard that has very good court vision. So, yeah, I'm going to have Alex Karaban still be a first-round talent here at 25. We're going to have probably the last center here, and that is going to be Alex Condon, who I'm not sure. Let me just double check here. Yeah, Alex Condon out of Florida, which I'm not sure why they aren't coming up. Maybe he's just not listed here. Alex Condon as like a prospect. Okay, well, this is where I would have Alex Condon, but they do not have him in the Fanspo big board unless he's somehow listed as a power forward. All right, well, I guess we're going to skip Alex Condon, but this is where I would have him here. The big man, the sophomore out of Florida, who has really developed into a nice rim-running big man this year, knows when to roll, knows where to be on the floor. Solid shot blocker, could be a little bit better, but I think has some upside as a nice double-double center at the NBA level. So I guess we're going to talk about 31 prospects because that's where I probably would have had him. Next up at number, where are we at? We are at 26, but this I guess would realistically be 27. I have Adou Thiero from Arkansas. I guess I have him as my best Arkansas player because of the Boogie Fland injury. I don't know if he would be a first-round pick, would probably benefit staying another year of college. But Thiero can run the floor. He can defend. He can dunk. He's good athlete. Worry about the playmaking, worry about the three-point shot a little bit. But I think he could be a fun offensive piece for some teams that maybe are just looking for someone that's not scared to put the ball on the ground, to attack the rim, and then wants to absorb contact as well. It's just the big question mark is his three-point shot, and that can make him a fringe first-round talent in this upcoming NBA draft. So coming in here at number, where are we at? Number 27, really number 28. I'm going to have not Ian Jackson, sorry, Drake Powell, the other UNC Tar Heel. Probably another player that could benefit staying another year at college. I don't know. Well, actually, I don't think Hubert Davis is getting let go, so I don't know if he would stay at UNC. But Powell hasn't had a ton of volume this year, but has good size, is a couple inches taller than Ian Jackson. Maybe not as polished as an offensive player right now, but better defensively. And I think you're drafting Drake Powell because of his defensive ability right now and what he could also be in year 4 of that rookie contract as well, for somebody that could be this high energy defender at the NBA level. Speaking of high energy defense, I'm going to have Johni Broome, one of the last spots here out of Auburn, one of the best players in all of college basketball. He's, I believe, a 5-year player, or is he no 4-year player, because he started off at Morehead State. I love how this is going to not load on me as we're getting just how many players do we have left? Yeah, we have like 3 players left. But Johni Broome brings a ton of energy, a ton of excitement from Auburn. High, like just motor, shooting 50% from the field this year. He is shooting, basically 28% from 3, but he'll take them. Like, it's kind of like Asa Newell-ish a little bit. I definitely don't trust Broome shooting. But yeah, he's a 5-year player. First 2 years at Morehead State. Just a little bit older, so that's why I think for him, I'd like to see him go to, like, the Boston Celtics, the LA Clippers, one of those teams that are going to be picking late, or maybe the Phoenix Suns late in the first round as well. So he's going to come in at number 28. I guess that's realistically number 29 in a way. But yeah, I'm going to have Nick Clifford here, who I've always liked out of Colorado State. I think I had him ranked as like a first-round talent last year, but he decided to not go into the 24 draft. But he's just a good scorer. What could hold Clifford back of going higher is his three-point shot. Maybe isn't as consistent as scouts may like it to be, but it's been getting better over the last few weeks for sure, because this was, I think, sub 30% not too long ago. If I look, yeah, we can look at Clifford's last, 11 games. He's shooting 37% from 3 on 6 attempts a night, 19 points, 59% true shooting over this 11-game sample size. Can rebound very well. 9.5 rebounds, you can see, for somebody that's a 6'5 guard. And I think that would be appealing to NBA scouts as well. So he's coming in at number 29. I guess he would be 30 if Alex Condon was just listed here. So I guess that's what I'm going to finish it out as. I think I'm just going to have that top 30. I think like Noah Penda, Sergio Delaria could be featured here as well. But just act like Alex Condon was basically 26 and you bump everybody else down a spot. So that is going to be my updated 2025 NBA draft big board. I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the guys that have been rising on my big board. Kind of like Thomas Sorber, Jase Richardson, Rasheer, Fleming, Asa Newell has been rising up. Kon and McNeeley are kind of, I think, officially in that 7-8 range. Trey Johnson, I think I gotta work on evaluating him, because I think this is where I could get blinded by the shot, and I don't know if I should have him this high. So yeah, that is going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, to leave a rating and review over there as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.